Thanks. Okay, this is the Senate Reapportionment Committee meeting. It is February 1st, Tuesday, and we are in one of our regular meetings. So, Mike, would you like to, I think, first of all, let me ask if the, hopefully everybody got the letter and you thought that Brian and I did an okay job.
Very good job.
Good.
Jeanette
Okay.
wrote the whole thing. All I did was hit send.
I was gonna say, yeah, it was a good letter. You guys
Okay.
did a rocking job.
So I think that helped some of our colleagues get a better understanding of where we are and what we're doing and how they can, some of them felt that we were actually asking for their input into our committee, but we got that straightened out. So Mike and Amron have redone our committee page a little bit. So would you like to do that? And then I think we should just jump right into looking at the current map. I think that's what we decided last time that we would do first, is look at the current map, where we are with that and the census data, and then start looking at, we can look at the minority map from there, because that, if we wanted to start with that and then start looking at, and I think it was suggested that we kind of start with the bottom of the state, because that has the least changes and it'll impact everything as we go up. But was that your understanding, committee, is that that's the way we would do this? We would start by looking at the current map and where we're so out of sync?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I think first, Mike and Amron, do you want to just tell us what we need to know about our new website, if there's anything you're muted.
I'm
Amron.
muted. For the record, Amron Abergele Legislative Council. So yes, it might make sense to share my screen. Oh, yes. Okay. Mike is sharing his screen. So you'll see now on your committee webpage, there are a few new things. So if you scroll down to see a little further down, we have reports and resources tab. And under here, we have the current districts map, which if you click on that, that will give you the whole state. It will have the 2012 districts with the 2020 population. Like it's loading slowly. So you'll see on here, you'll have an abbreviation for the district. Then there's the percent deviation from the ideal. There's the population of the district, and then the number of senators for that district. So that's there. And then if you go back to your committee page, you'll see we have put all of the materials that were sent over from the Legislative Apportionment Board all in one spot here. It also has a link to the LAB website at the bottom. So you can go over and check out additional materials there if you would like. We have individually posted here the statewide majority map as well as the statewide minority map. And then you'll see there's also the LAB Senate report. And then you'll see if you click on the 2020 census data maps, that is a link to the Vermont Center for Geographic Information, which has more information about the 2020 census and population data in Vermont.
Oh, this is great. This is yes, this is great.
Okay, good. And now, Mike, if you'll scroll up just a little bit, you'll see over on the left-hand side by additional information, we have a link here. This is also on the House Government Operations page. This takes people, if they want to go to the main legislative page for reapportionment. So just so you are aware that it's out there, I know for this committee, it sounds like you would like to use mostly your committee's webpage for information, but just so you know, there is this 2022 Senate reapportionment page. And Mike, if you could click on that link. Sorry, the 2022 Senate reapportionment.
Mhm.
There we go. So as you start filling in documents within your committee webpage, we will start putting links on this webpage to those locations within your committee page, so that if someone wants to just come to one place and see sort of the main documents and information, they'll be able to link to specifics within your committee page without a duplication of things being posted in multiple places.
Great.
And that, I believe, is all I have to report.
I think you've done a wonderful job. Thank you very
Yes,
much.
that's great.
Sorry, Amarin, when I pressed on the link to reapportionment page, that's not what came up, just a
So there's a funny technical quirk to the additional information highlight spot on the committee pages, which is that you can only put a document. So we had to put a document that
Yeah.
then links over to
Yeah,
the
got
webpage.
it. Got it. Just figured it out. Thank you. Then you just keep clicking.
You just keep clicking. Yeah.
Great, thanks.
All
But
right.
I like our page the best so far.
All right. So should we just take a look at the current map so that we can figure out where we are? And you'll notice that just to point out that the kind of red lines are where towns have been moved out of and into different county districts. So if you look at Wilmington and Londonderry, for example, they both really exist in Windham County, but Londonderry is part of the Windsor district and Wilmington is part of the Bennington district. So the red lines really indicate real county lines as opposed to district lines. Yeah. Senator Colmore.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I noted this, I don't know if it's true or what it means, but when I look at the current map, and then I look at the Senate minority map, the numbers are exactly the same. I find that hard to believe that Washington County hasn't gained even one person since the 2010 map was put in. It's still listed as 59,807.
So, I understand that you mean, oh, wait, what are you on Washington County?
Yes, I'm comparing the current map.
Oh, yeah.
Which Mike Ferrant just sent us with the proposed minority map.
Okay, how do you do that side by side on them?
I printed them both out.
Oh, you've printed them out. Okay, you lucky person.
So,
And again, I don't mean to waylay us into something we don't need to take up right now, but I just noted all the other counties have changed population since the current map and the proposed minority map, except for Washington County.
okay, that I didn't look at that. I know that the red is what the county population is and the black is what the district population is on that map.
Correct.
But I didn't look at it in relation to the minority map.
But Jeannie Albert hasn't changed any of the towns in Washington County, and yet the population is exactly the same as it was 10 years ago, which I find extraordinary. Oh, I think Ameren might have an answer.
Okay, Emran.
The current district maps has the 2020 census population data on it. So that is not old population data, that is the current data. So both the minority and majority maps are using 2020 census data, and we have updated the current districts with 2020 census data.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, okay, great. So it's not the 2010 census that's on the current map.
No, it's
Current
the 2012 districts with 2020
Population.
population data.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's what it says on the map.
Yep.
Okay,
Any-
well,
any district that's the same is going to have the same number, but any district that's changed is going to have a different number
Yep.
for population.
So we can see that Rutland, Bennington, Addison, Chittenden, Franklin, Lamoille, Essex, Orleans, Caledonia, Washington are the ones that are most out of sync with what the population should be in those
Yep.
districts.
So have we reached a decision on what the plus and what the minuses should be or could be and still be within our boundaries?
I don't think that, this is just my opinion, I'd like other people to weigh in. I don't think that it is wise for us to set a number now that we want to make it as the deviation as little as possible. But I think that if we set a number, then we're looking at a minus and plus, and to me, it makes more sense to look at the criteria that we used, the lens that we used, and try and figure that out and see if it gets to a deviation that's reasonable. That's just my feeling. I don't know how others feel about it. Chris?
Well, I hear what you're saying, but I'd spent a half an hour with Nick this morning, just starting to play, and it was very useful. And I really encourage everybody to do it, because you'd start to, it becomes not theoretical after very quickly. And so I don't know if you feel strongly about this, Madam Chair, but if we just, for instance, decided rather arbitrarily, like 5% plus or minus, because what I found happen was you move things around and you're not going to get to zero. So you have to decide, and it might be valuable, not for us to decide permanently, but to just decide on kind of a working principle.
Yeah, ballpark.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. And so as I was doing it, that was what I did by accident. And so, because we're gonna look, if we start at the bottom, we're gonna look at Windsor and Bennington, Windham and Bennington County, and they're not gonna be good. They're gonna remain short, and we're gonna have to decide where we move on, is my opinion. But
So when you did that, did you figure out what your spread deviation was, or what your up and your down was?
no, I just in my working moment, and we didn't have very long, I think I wanted to be no greater than 5% out.
Okay.
And so that would be a spread of 10 if
Yeah.
but I didn't get through the whole state. So
Andy?
I think the reapportionment board looked at this question, and I had asked them if they had that number, and I think that they talked about court cases guide them how they picked that in a deviation of 20%. So 10 up and 10 down was like a clear boundary. Like if you went over that, then you're going to be in trouble. But so I would say it's going to be a range, maybe, that 0 to 10 up and down, but 5 to 10 is probably where we're going to end up. So that but I would say we should use that same principle, because we know from what I remember, I think Mr. Little saying is, if you're over 20, there's a clear court case to be had that you're beyond the deviation.
right.
Yeah, I think 16.9 is one of the numbers that they threw out that has been justified. I would actually hate to see us go to 20, but
Right. That gives us a boundary, at least.
if I were going to do this, I would aim for what Chris did, 5 up and 5 down, and knowing that we'd have to adjust that.
Yeah, but that's cutting it pretty tight. why not use as much as we can and stay within the ballpark, but why not push it to, I mean, for us, when we get to the northern part, we're gonna need to have some numbers that look a little different than maybe in the middle of the state. And we may, I think we ought to push it to the limit.
Well, the problem is we don't really know what the limit is. The
Well,
20,
like 20.
I think we have a good sense.
20?
I mean, I think that's way too high. I mean, I don't think we want to bump up again against a court case. I think, but 5 may be pretty low. I mean, to go to Bobby's point, 5
Yeah.
ties, you know, maybe if we aim initially between 8 and 10, I think that's what Bobby's saying, not, is that what you're saying, Bobby?
Yeah. Take the upper limit, not the lower limit, especially the first trip around.
I just am very nervous about saying we're going to push it to the limit because I don't think we really know what the limit is. 20 has been said that's a definite court case if you're at 20. 16.9 was given out as a number that has been justified. But if you're doing that, it isn't just the number. When you're justifying the numbers, if they're high or low, you have to say how you're justifying that. You're keeping a county together, you're paying attention to geographic boundaries. So you have to justify any deviations. Chris?
Well, just to make sure that I'm saying the same thing that people are hearing, in my mind, when I say 5, we're really talking about 10.
Yeah.
It could go up or down. So
yeah.
I just used that, and I think actually I quickly violated it, but it was a target that I was shooting for. And the way I think of it is just an operational thing. And then when we look at the trickier parts of the state and we say, well, we can't hit 5, we can hit 7, it's not a hard, fast rule. Yeah. It's just a way to manage our time here.
Yeah.
If you take that map that we got today, late today from Michael, and if you start the bottom, like with a deviation of 7.6 over in Bennington County. So if we said 8, they're in, they're good. If we go over to Wyndham, they're fine. They could even lose a town if we needed one. But and so it gives you some wiggle room to come up through with to stretch it out all the way up through, not just in one area or another area.
Yes, but if we say Bennington is fine at almost 8, that means that means if we're looking at a spread, nobody else could be above 8. If I really think that pushing to 20 is asking for trouble. And so that would mean that nobody, Essex Orleans is at 10 right now. It couldn't be above 8.
And so you'd have to move a town in there or something.
Right, but okay. Yeah, I want us to try and get the best outcome here without anyway, okay. So how do we want to do this? If we and we have to pay attention to counties and we have to pay attention to what people want. I can tell you right now that Wilmington would love to move back into Windham County, but that puts Bennington even more out of kilter. So
yeah,
that
they wouldn't be able.
That probably isn't going to happen. So, Chris, when you started doing this, did you look at Paulette, Tabor, Mount Tabor and Danby.
I started by trying to make your county back to the way it should be. And as you've just suggested, it didn't work. And then in fact, you can't see it on this document, but Somerset has 6 people in it.
Mhm.
So that's sort of frustrating because that can't possibly be true. But anyway,
It is
so
true.
I've got some with 2.
well, how can that
It is-
be? I mean, there's not towns with 2 people. What are they both the council?
Yes,
They make up the
Yes.
majority of the council and the school board and the library
Yes.
board.
yes.
Yeah, 2.
Well, anyway, so I think I did bring Wilmington in, but I punted Stratton and Somerset. But I was just trying to quickly get a sense of what you could do, and that brought them both around -2 or 3, -4 or 5, I think. But
Oh, you moved Stratton over to Bennington?
well, I think so. I can't remember, to be honest, because we just basically the way I did it was I was just trying to, and if you want to, Nick could share you the bottom part of my map, but I was just trying to see how quickly we could and sort of get everything a little truer, and it wasn't actually that hard. I mean, Rutland's the heavy one. If you can give a little Wyndham to Bennington and bring those closer to 0. And then I can't remember how we did Rutland. I think
Actually, I can help there, I think, Chris. If you take Mount Holly, which technically is in Rutland County,
Yeah.
and move that back, Rutland winds up being down only 5.81. I don't know what that does to Windsor, but I can't imagine it does much more than add a percent. So they might be up by -6.
Yeah, I think that is what I did. And then because I was trying to go county lines at first. And then that created a problem in Windsor, and I just gobbled up Braintree randomly out of Orange District and to deal with Windsor a little bit. But anyway, again, I think if it were me, Madam Chair, I would ask Nick to pull it up. He can share a screen, and we can just
Sure.
throw some ideas around and start manipulating
Yeah.
the map.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's
That's
pretty
great.
quick at it.
Okay, Nick, are you there? All right, great, thanks.
Hi, everybody. For the record, Nick Atherton, mapping specialist with Office of Legislative Counsel. Thanks for the plug, Senator Pearson. And yes, Madam Chair, I am ready to pull this up. So I'm going to share this screen, and we're just going to pull up Senator Pearson's plan and take a look. Okay, so let's go. Okay.
Nick, I think we had a screenshot of the bottom. Let's just go with there, because the rest we were doing was really speculative at this point. But
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good.
So if you're gonna share your screen, I'm gonna take a minute here and get out of my iPad and log in on my computer so that I can see it bigger.
Oh, he's
Okay.
just made it bigger than it was.
I know, but it's not very big on my iPad
Right.
screen.
It's not very big on mine.
So I'm telling Brian Collmore that I am going to do this. So I will be transitioning. So would you just take over for a minute?
Certainly. Thank you, Madam
Thank you.
Chair.
Thank you.
And Nick, is there any way you can make it a little bigger?
Certainly, yeah. I can zoom in a little bit here. And there we have towns and population of the town hovering below.
So you got Bennington back down.
that's not, is that our map?
Yes, this is where
Oh,
we
all right.
this is where we landed at the end of
Well,
our
you see,
session.
Bobby, I already violated the 5%. So you're you're a
Oh,
good company.
5% is crazy. You gotta go 7 or 8.
Well, you got to aim for something.
Well, like if you don't even talk about it, but in your mind, you're set, say 7 or 8 at maximum. You're good there at 6.59.
Yeah.
Nick, is there any way we can get a map that we can blow up like that, that shows the populations on the current, on this map? Because when we blow up ours, I'm blowing it up on my iPad, it does not show the populations just like yours does when you blow yours up.
The answer is yes. It means that it's going to come at the sacrifice of some amount of readability and some amount of data being projected onto the map. So that means that not every town or city municipality name is going to appear. But yeah, I could definitely do that.
Or maybe a different one, but with that element, because what you're just doing now is very helpful with the town populations apparent
Mhm.
as we do this work, because on the current map that we have here that we're all looking at on our devices, anyway, that's the useful addition, is the
Certainly.
populations of the towns.
I'm
Yeah,
going to.
but you wind up with missing, for example, whatever town it is that is to the west of Putney and whatever town there is to the west of Westminster. I don't know what those are or any numbers associated with them looking at this.
Oh, Wyndham? Oh,
No,
I see.
it's Brookline and
Athens. Athens.
yeah, Athens.
But obviously, that's what we're missing. And so in terms of trying to manipulate numbers, if we're missing towns and the numbers associated with them, it doesn't make it easy to do.
Got it.
Yeah, a sort of perennial trade-off is that it is just the amount of data that's able to be displayed at any given time.
But what you're showing us right now, Bennington is fine and Wyndham is fine. Windsor's fine. Rutland.
Rutland's better. Rutland's better.
Yeah. So Rutland's okay.
Pretty close to Windsor. Yeah.
Addison's screwed up.
Yeah,
Yeah. What happened?
Addison is way.
Yeah.
off.
So Nick, I'd rather, we're what you're seeing is Addison is screwed up because we started seeing if we could bring Huntington back into Chittenden County. So, and then we ran out of time. I had to get to the floor. So you're seeing more than a rough draft here of my thinking, but the 4 southern counties, we were peaceful about enough to move and jump into Chittenden. We started messing a little bit with Orange to see what some options were. And there's big towns actually in Orange, and it's a single seat. So it starts to change quickly. But I would rather, it'll just be distracting if you get really up above the 4 southern counties. Looking at my draft, and I'd rather us not do that.
Well, if you move some of Orange counties, if we could, over to Addison, you would drop Orange down and bump Addison up to, if we say Braintree's got 1,200, well, Warren.
They're in Windsor.
Braintree, I stuck in Windsor in this county,
Yeah.
in this
What
map.
if you didn't do that and added that to the Addison district?
Well, we can take a look at that. And I'm going to, if you can bear with me for just a quick second, I'm going to make a new copy of this plan and we can work off of it so that Senator Pearson's draft isn't lost to history. Yeah.
We do not want his draft.
God
lost.
forbid. God forbid.
So,
I'll tell you, Nick, you're doing it a lot faster than I was doing it by hand.
I'm also doing it a lot faster than I was a few weeks ago. So I appreciate you all folks being very patient with me as I've learned this program.
Brian, off the top of your head, do you know what the population of Pittsfield is?
No, I'm going to guess it's about 500, maybe.
Yeah.
Just a guess.
2,862.
Is it really?
Pittsburgh. Pittsford or Pittsfield?
No, Pittsfield.
Pittsfield.
Because Pittsfield is a more natural, if we're gonna do bigger population trades, Pittsfield is a more natural,
504.
504.
I was off by 4 people.
That was pretty darn good there, Collimore.
So when we're looking at all we're looking at is numbers. And we're not looking at geographic.
True. True.
I don't know, for example, if you can get from Stockbridge to Pittsfield.
Yes, very.
Without going through Killington and Chittenden. So I think that we also need to pay a little attention to that.
Madam Chair, I'll just say that the blue lines that you see a few places are the county lines.
Right.
And when you can't see them, it's because they're covered by the district lines. So
I'm gonna turn down the opacity of the district lines a little bit so that the county lines are a little easier to see.
Right.
So now it's turning them green. If you see it now, it's basically if it's green, it is county line and lying atop district line, or rather the opposite, district line atop county line. If it's yellow, it's a pure fictional district line, theoretical, and then a blue is purely county without a district distinction on
Just to
it.
go to Jeanette's question, Pittsfield fits very much in the valley of the White River with Rochester and Stockbridge. They're all part of a school. There's a bunch of coordination. That is a community. Those communities. Braintree is very separate. It's sort of over and up, and is not at all sort of part of that community. Really, the Bethel, Rochester, Pittsfield, and Stockbridge are school community, our shopping community, our geographic community, very much connected by the White River.
Okay, but we also did talk about not breaking up counties, and Pittsfield is in Rutland County.
Right, and Braintree is in Orange, and Mount Holly is in Rutland, but has been in the Windsor district. I mean, I think this already is encroaching on other counties.
Yeah.
Well, except, I mean, when I look at this, it does look, and then there are going to be county lines that are going to be disturbed. There have to be, because if we just went by county lines, we would be more than 25.9 deviation. We'd be at 60 or something. So we are going to have to break up county lines. And when the way you did this, Chris, when I look at it, although I hate to lose more towns from Windham County to Bennington, it looks like Windham, Bennington, Rutland, and Windsor are pretty.
Can you go back down to see what Jeanette is?
No. He doesn't. You don't have to. Chris moved Stratton and Somerset, and left Wilmington there, and left Londonderry, Windsor, and so I hate to lose those, but it does really make the 4 southern counties pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
why waste time on fooling with them until we get the rest of it somewhat straightened out?
Andy, you had a question.
Yeah, thank you. I was just thinking of a way that we could break up this work, because I think it's going to be really difficult to kind of do it as a group of 6 talking about the map and trying to discuss each thing. And I wondered if we kind of broke up into like subgroups, and would just work kind of with our neighbors, or we don't have anybody from Bennington or Addison, but I think it would be a lot easier for like just 2 or 3 of us like that are bordering, because as we already started talking, as Allison was pointing out, if you know your districts and the towns and school districts and mountain ranges and things, so and then those little groups could come forward to the whole committee and say, okay, this is how we dealt with the interaction between Addison and Rutland, or Franklin and Chittenden. and then have those present to the whole committee. I was just suggesting it as a way to move forward that might allow us to move forward.
Okay, but Andrew, if Addison is not represented, are you suggesting that I reach out to Senator Bray and Hardy and engage them, or should I wait? I mean, the letter we sent out basically gives them the option to contact us and not the other way around.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not suggesting that you try to get them in, but somebody would just have to take on that position, and then, we
Well,
could check in with them, but somebody's gonna have to kind of represent Addison and Bennington on this, in those kind of little groups for my
Well,
idea to work, which is
I
just an
think-
idea.
I think we're the committee that got appointed, and we best do our job and try to run up through the map and do it. And if we keep running into problems, call in reinforcements or break into smaller groups, but
So, Bobby, or Andy, I appreciate your suggestion there. I'm not sure, though, if we had a small group working on, for example, solving Addison, that is going to impact Rutland and Chittenden, and so the way they would impact, the way that any possible solutions will impact, it's going to impact everybody else, whatever. And so yeah, I do see what you mean. It is going to be hard, and I don't know if we just keep going on
climb in
this.
the ladder.
I mean, I do.
Go up to Addison. We got 4 there that are.
well,
impact.
I would love, I'd love to ask Nick to see what so what should I do to suggest that Nick also look at something that has a Pittsfield instead of a Braintree, which is really like not part of anything natural of that part of.
Wait,
our
I didn't,
county.
can you put the map down a little bit, Nick, so that we can see the Braintree?
Sorry, Madam Chair, with your permission, I'd just like to reload a slightly earlier version of this document before Senator Pearson and I got into rearranging some parts that are just going to be very confusing and throw off the process, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. I'm just going to be doing that, but I can take a question while we're at it, if there's any lingering questions.
And I think that, so Allison, are you saying that Braintree has no relationship to Randolph and?
No, it has a great deal of relationship to Randolph. It has Rochester, Bethel, Stockbridge, and Pittsfield are a community of both geographically, school-wise, they're all kind of interconnected. And Pittsfield sends their kids to our high school, the Woodstocks, high school. And they send their kids to, but they're much more connected to Rutland and Windsor than Braintree is. Braintree's got really no, it's not a natural geographic or community bond. There's nothing that bonds Braintree much.
With who?
Maybe pizza in.
With who?
No, yeah.
It doesn't bond them with who?
With, it's just not part of the Rochester, Bethel, Pittsfield, Stockbridge area as much. The Pittsfield is the natural 4th town in that configuration is all I'm saying. If you're trying to keep regions and communities that function together, and those are the communities that function together more than Braintree. Braintree is really, I think, pretty separate.
I have to look at it again before, because I'm a little confused about what you're saying, because
I think I'm trying to be very clear that Pittsfield is part of the community of Stockbridge and Rochester and Bethel, much more than Braintree is not as connected to those parts of Windsor County. It's quite separate. I don't know. I mean, that's partly geographic and it's just partly its economy, which is more focused to Randolph and north. It's more focused north and east than it is. We're trying to do it by what is a natural community and geography. The geography of the White River Valley includes Pittsfield, Rochester, Bethel, and Stockbridge.
So,
Chris,
Madam Chair,
yeah,
it strikes me that in some way this is like a bill with a lot of sections. And, where we sit right now, I'm hearing, nobody's voting yes, but nobody's got immediate objections to what we've done to Wyndham and Bennington. And so now we're moving up to Windsor. Senator Clarkson's raising some questions because she knows the county better than probably the rest of us. And so maybe if we sort of think of it that way, play around with Windsor, let her see what she's describing, and we all sort of absent objection, we move on. Maybe that would be just an approach so we don't all make ourselves crazy.
yeah.
I think that's great. Can you explain what is the space that doesn't have a name? And maybe it's between Goshen, Chittenden, Rochester, and Hancock. What is that?
I can't see that. I can't see them. Oh, there we go.
It's just blank. It's got no name.
So as far as I understand, that's actually part of Rochester.
Oh, is it part of the state park maybe, or the national?
Yeah, it's a mountain probably.
It's all mountains down through there.
It's the Gap. Yeah.
No people.
No,
We can
Doesn't
take a
help
look
us.
at the Senate, the census blocks. Just a quick second. Let's pull those up and.
Because it's an odd little piece that I hadn't appreciated.
But if it has no people, it's not going to make any difference at all where it goes.
No, I'm just curious why I guess it must be a piece of Rochester I had not fully appreciated.
So
Just got a hard copy map delivery in my office. Sorry for the interruption, folks.
that's okay. Allison, do you have a sense of if Pittsfield were to move over to Windsor, what would that number do to Rutland?
That's the question that we have to ask Nick. Because I obviously don't have the ability to know that.
So sorry.
Well, we know it's 504 people, so
Right.
we ought to be able to figure it out.
Yeah, it would put Rutland at 60,000, 60,068, right? Something like that.
6,100, 61,000. I think.
Oh,
Yeah,
I can't
61,000.
see the numbers as well as you can. I'm so blind. I can't see it all.
What about the deviation?
it should be 66 or 67 with the deviation.
Am I doing something wrong here? Or Nick, are you putting things up that I don't know
Sorry.
what they are?
I was just changing the labels on the districts to show the gross population of the district. So
Oh, great.
Probably should have backed up a quick minute there. Anything red text here is the county population.
Right.
These little black badges or gray badges that show in order actually, you know what? Before I get going on that, let's change that to, we're going to add numbers of members as well. So that shows now the labels display the name of the district, the variance from the ideal, and then the gross population of the district, as well as the number of members that it is represented by.
Okay.
Right.
And now the red numbers are somewhere else. Okay.
Red numbers will stay static, and those just represent county population. Correct.
So
Oh,
Rutland is pretty good.
Yeah.
Right. As it is.
So is
here.
it Windsor.
Right. And I'm just saying it's good with a random with a town that really doesn't relate to. I would just love to have Nick look at it with Pittsfield in the Windsor district instead of Braintree, which just doesn't orient to us really at all. And the Pittsfield, which does and naturally does and is part of that White River Valley.
Sure, we can.
Pittsfield, if Pittsfield moved over there, that would affect Rutland and it would affect you. But Braintree can't move to Rutland.
No,
No.
I know.
No, I know, I'm just,
So why don't you fool with it, Allison, and stay within those two counties and the rest of us can move on up the
Yeah,
map.
no, I didn't mean to wail it. I just wanted to put a marker down with Nick that I'd love to just look at that with Brian and me and Nick. Maybe we can figure this out.
Yeah,
Sure.
and then
We,
we'll move on.
I'll note that we can experiment with district boundaries right here, right now, and then undo those changes if we'd like to.
yeah,
Okay.
so move Pittsfield into Windsor.
Okay,
I
And
mean,
then
because-
see what it does to the deviation of
Yeah.
both districts.
So, because I applaud Chris, but this is Chris's start and I really.
Right, we're
applaud
going
him.
there, Allison. We're
What?
going there.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a little like, you know how when you ask ledge council for a bill, it's private because you don't want to look like an idiot in your first attempt. That's how I feel.
No, I thought
But-
you did a great job.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I
that's fine.
appreciate that.
So far,
That's
so
fine.
good.
I'm so glad to be called to the front of the class.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think you put yourself there, which is good.
You could have just called it the X draft and not taken
Well-
responsibility at all.
Had I known then what I know now.
okay, so that has
I
been
do want
changed.
Wilmington though.
So
Okay,
On that
It
6
looks
point
like
one,
Rutland goes from -581 to -659.
yeah,
And
Good call.
Windsor goes from -418 to -455 for some reason.
mhm.
so
Right.
you're
'Cause
still within 7.
Yep.
But Braintree, Allison was saying Braintree's a problem and Braintree's big. Those Orange County towns are populated.
Oh, so yeah, we got to take Braintree out of that. That's right.
Well,
Can-
Braintree and Randolph and all those
Yeah,
towns
that,
go good together.
yes, they do. Those are the towns that naturally work together.
Okay, so if you moved Braintree into Orange,
Okay,
Right.
Yeah.
And
Orange
that-
is gonna be way over.
okay,
Yeah, but in my draft, I was also neatening up Orange over Bradford. That's not the current. He doesn't have Bradford, West Fairleigh, or Fairleigh right now.
Yeah,
So I was just monkeying around to make it a little more straightforward.
so should we try that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I meant to take Braintree out. I didn't mean to keep Braintree in that idea. Right.
Okay.
right, we got that.
Okay, now
Right.
Now
let it
Orange,
down a little
That
lower.
makes more sense. Right.
Push your mat down so we can see. the-
No,
yeah.
other way.
Oh,
okay. Can you make the map just a little bit smaller, maybe, so we can see more of it at a time? I know that we asked you to make it bigger,
There we
but
no, that's quite all right. That's what I'm here to do.
great, thanks.
Okay,
How's that
Okay,
look?
so now Orange is plus 15 and that'll never do.
But that's, I added those eastern towns. Which are now currently in Caledonia. Bradford, West Fairleigh are all part of Caledonia.
now that's not gonna work though. Oh, you moved them up, right, Chris?
I moved them down because
Can we shift the map this way a little bit so that we can see the eastern part of Orange?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so start by taking Bradford out at a minimum and see where that lands. us.
yeah.
Put it into Caledonia.
Can we,
Okay.
do you think we can put Orange back in Orange County?
No,
Wouldn't that be? Probably not. I mean, these can't, compared to some of those southern little towns, these are all whoppers.
I
Yeah.
know.
They're big towns.
So we're going to start with moving, sorry, Bradford from out of Orange into Caledonia.
Mhm.
That's
Okay.
currently the case.
Right.
Got Bradford, Fairleigh, and West Fairleigh.
And West Fairleigh
We'll go down, all down
And
there.
Fairleigh.
and Fairleigh.
Yep.
Okay.
Yikes. Those are currently in orange, aren't they?
Oh, that makes Orange at
No,
5.
They've
They're-
been in that Caledonia County for a long time.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that
And
gets Orange better.
Well, now Orange is under though, but anyway.
What if you
that-
moved Orange into Orange?
Yeah.
We
I
could
don't know
try.
the geography there, but I do know that every time I hear people talk about it, they say, can't we please just move Orange back into Orange County?
Look at that. It's right on.
Wow.
well, then move Orange over to Caledonia and see what it
No,
does
it
for them.
was, Orange wants to be in Orange County.
Right.
Well, they may not be able to be in Orange. They may have to change their name to something else. How come there's two? Oh, Orange County is 29.
The county seat is not orange, though. The county
No,
seat.
I know that. I'm just telling you what I hear from people in Orange County.
How come you talk with people way up there? You won't even talk with me and we're in Senate together.
Yeah, you're too far north. I'm not going to talk to you.
So,
Uh,
Madam Chair, I'll just point out that it's 5:57. And while
Oh.
I'm very excited that we're actually doing something, I do have something else to do at 6:30.
Well, I think Randy asked if we would have a hard, I think it was Randy that asked if we would have a hard stop at 6. And my guess is Chris wants to go have dinner with his family.
Yeah.
And I know what I
Uh,
need to do.
Well,
how far off is Caledonia County if we move Orange back over there?
Eight.
Well, there's still a little off,
Yeah.
but a lot closer. If they had another small town,
Well, I think if we
Well-
look north, I think Linden was moved.
Yeah, we might have to go farther, start going farther north now. I think we, Addison is still a problem. Caledonia is a problem.
it's just a good
Washington
place
is,
to
I
stop.
think a problem. But it's pretty close. 7.
Well, we could move some of Addison County out and cut them down to one route. Well, what's funny about that? They aren't on the committee, right?
Oh, you're
We
bad.
could.
Oh, you're bad.
Or we
No,
could move half of
I was
Bennington
just-
up to Rutland and give them 4.
I was just kidding.
Is that going to do our
And
work for today?
block.
I
think
think
so.
so. And can you, Nick, can you preserve this map for us? The way we have it so far?
I certainly can.
Okay, great.
Did we get to 5 or are we still at 4? 5 counties, right?
Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah.
Well, heck, we're almost halfway there.
Okay.
Yeah. No, this is kind of going pretty good.
Chris, thank you for doing that work.
Thank you. Yeah,
For
I'm,
sure.
And thank you, Nick.
Yeah.
My
You
pleasure.
know, if we went to Chittenden County next and figured that out and what you could get, what we could get rid of there to move south, that would blend in well and we wouldn't get a lot of squat. That might be a good place to go next.
On the
What
east
you-
side. I mean, yeah, on the west side, you mean?
Well, that's where
Yeah.
the people all are.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, Addison down, looking at that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, that was
Thanks,
good.
Madam Chair.
thanks, everybody. this is, I must admit, it's a little bit harder doing it this way than when it was in person.
We're on at 8, right? Tomorrow?
Okay.
On at 8.
Yeah.
And
I'll dream of you all.
Wow.
Oh, don't even
Wow.
go there.